I will defeat the Powerpuff Girls, or my name isn't Mojo Projo.
Koma World Eater versus Jenara, Ezio, and Ghen. A bit of a heavy hand really, so we're going to have to mulligan into a 2-lander. Luckily we got green off the basic, we've actually got a 3-lander there. I always forget about these ones, so that can take us into 3 visits, should be fine. Drew into Tempt with Discovery on turn 1. It's noteworthy as well that Jenara has had to mulligan down to 5 cards unfortunately, and have not managed to draw into a land, so it might be that we have to use the Disciple as a bolt land. But for now, we can fix our blue mana, named Serpent, with the tribal land, because we're looking to make a lot of Serpent tokens. And alright, Skyshroud Claim on top, we're just drawing into all the ramp here, which I don't mind seeing, so I'll leave that on top as well. I think if we go Skyshroud Claim first, then our opponents will be more likely to say yes to Tempt with Discovery in order to catch up to us. Ezio, the first commander to hit play. And we know what we're drawing into here, so gonna ramp ahead quite nicely. Does mean that we'll have to bolt this down unfortunately, but it's Skyshroud Claim. I might even take a turn off next turn and try and stick the Mana Reflection. That might force an opponent to take a turn off to remove that. Depends if any of this blue mana's held up. I might not play my enchantment into counter magic. Anyway, only black mana over here at the moment, but cracking the Myriad Landscape, you can only grab 1 basic land type off this, so it's either 2 plains or 2 mountains, and they grab a couple of plains. Blue mana held up here, but it seems as though Jenara is tapping it down, still doesn't have green over there. No counters in hand of the 5 cards because he's just tapping out. Alright, and there is a blue source for us. Probably play that out as a land, to be honest. So let's go Mana Reflection here. Or what we could do is encourage our opponents to actually say yes to Tempt with Discovery, I suppose, so that they can fix their colours, because at least 2 of the players are struggling at the moment. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So let's make our first one a Gaia's Cradle, ready for those tokens to enter play. And then we're probably best to grab Field of the Dead as well, I imagine. Maybe could have gone Field of the Dead first, actually, to maximise the colours we get from this. Mana we get from Gaia's Cradle, but I think it enters tapped after this anyway. Yep, so a mountain over here. That means we get at least 1 more land. Ezio taking a land as well, surprisingly, so we might go and see our opponents each grab a land here, which maximises what we get with Tempt. Yeah, he went and got a forest there, so 4 lands for 4 mana is incredible for us. Let's go Field. Might as well be Cavern of Souls, I suppose. And an Ancient Tomb should be fine. Name Serpent again. Our commander is uncounterable, but I decided to leave the Cavern of Souls in because we've got a creature that cares about giving our stuff unblockable or something. A 6 mana blue one, I can't remember what it's called. Yawning Depths or something like that. Oh, and the stuff doesn't come in tapped. I thought it came in tapped with the Tempt with Discovery. It doesn't apparently, so could have gained another token by getting Field of the Dead in early, but don't think it matters. Let's go 3 mana from the Gaia's Cradle. Tap the other 2 down. Let's make it a Mana Reflection into a Roaming Throne maybe. And we're just doing obnoxious Simic stuff here. Well, we could bolt another land down and just draw 5 cards with this. We can do that anyway, likely next turn. Let's go for the Roaming Throne. Maybe should have got my commander down there. I think I could have done. If I played this and got another token with the zombie, it would have been 4 mana from the Gaia's Cradle alone. So yeah, definitely could have afforded our commander there. That might have been worth doing instead of Roaming Throne, just sitting here doing nothing for a while. Anyway, it's a gamble from the Mardu player. And with the gamble, has discarded Heliod of the Sun God. Likely went to grab himself a Ghostly Prison to protect himself against our horde. Ezio is just passing through the turn. Tireless tracker for the Bant player, but does not manage to play a land into that, just has a target player gain 7 life, so he goes up to 48. I have never seen this card before. Pretty bad for commander. Anyway, we draw into a forest, which is going to trigger Field again, so I think now we want to get down Koma a turn late. Might as well play the forest first so that it maximises what we can tap Gaia's Cradle down for. We get double the mana, so it's 12. And then it'd be fun to make a copy of the Roaming Throne with this, but I think we just need to maximise the number of cards we draw. So let's just draw 5 cards with it. Alright, and there we see a Rhystic Study we can get down. There's Adrix and Nev as well. Got some more ramp, some removal. So that's 2 pieces of removal for us. Get down the Study here. Adrix and Nev also. Just have to hope that we don't see any kind of board wipe, because I'm totally overextending. Sakura Tribe Elder is going to get us a blue basic, and then we'll be able to make twice as many zombies. I'll take the 4/4 into the right, and all these zombie tokens can go down the middle, seeing as how we could pay some Ghostly Prison tax, but let's just go down the middle for now. Ghen into play for the first time, see if he allows us to draw a card with Rhystic Study. If Tempt with Discovery is anything to go by, I imagine they're not going to be paying the tax here. Alright, they do pay the tax on it. Eating my words immediately. Gyroport Orrery. Each player may play an additional land. They don't really have to worry about us in that regard. We've already jumped way further ahead than them. If we can empty the cards in our hand though, we could draw 3 new cards. Rhystic Study is going to allow us to draw anyway, so the chances of that is reduced, although Otawara we could still bounce something. Managing to play a land into the Tireless Tracker this time. Gisela, the Broken Blade. Well, that's Flying First Strike, and you can meld it if you get the other one. Decides to allow us to draw again, so I'm not going to... Well, we might still be able to empty the hand actually, but it'll have to be during the next turn cycle. Just playing around this thing and the fact that we can draw cards off it. Didn't want to pay the tax so that he could crack the clue token and try and get into something. The first plus counter on the tracker. So let's go for cracking the Sakura Tribe Elder now. For an island, like we said before. Triggers field again. Get a couple of tokens. I'm going to bounce the Ghostly Prison. Maybe should have named Zombie with 3 Tree City, but I didn't know if we'd be getting into field or not. Bounce for 2 mana by discarding Otawara, the Ghostly Prison. And then we can go Reality Shift onto the Gisela is probably a good idea because we're not too good against flying. I'm just hoping that we're not going to see our opponents start to scoop on us here because we've been very, very obnoxious in typical Simic fashion. And we'll go Amphibian Mutineer after that. I'll put it on the Ghen. Then that will trigger the Storm and get a copy because we just cast a spell. Otawara is an ability, making it very difficult to counter, but it does mean that it's not a spell for Storm as well. Again, doing something, tapping down the Rakdos mana. He should allow this to go on the stack first because we could put the copy onto his commander. Okay, Teferi's Protection, so we draw a card to that as well. And that is a command tower. We can play 2 lands luckily. So we leave his commander alone for now. We still get the Storm, so I'm going to go after the Ezio. Oh, we get 2 copies thanks to the Teferi's Protection there. So Ezio and the Tireless Tracker. And with the enchantments, they become 1/1s and lose all abilities. The plus counter still counts on this thing though. The original fizzles thanks to the Teferi's Protection. Yeah, so we need to hope that we don't draw into a land basically, because we want to empty our hand. I was going to try to start landing commander damage over here because it might be relevant if he gets into a load of pillow fort stuff. If we only pay for 1 creature getting through with commander damage, it could be our means of taking this guy out later. We do not draw into a land, that is an Octomancer. Let's go Command Tower, carry on making the Horde of Zombies, and the Verdant Catacombs as well. And then we can obviously crack that for more. I might just do that at some other point. We're not exactly struggling for mana over here. So we'll go through to combat right now. Don't feel the need to protect anything with Swiftfoot Boots really. We'll take our commander to the right because they're at 44 over there. And then everything else can go down the middle. I was going to swing into the left, but can't do that now. And then maybe in an attempt to make peace with Ezio, I'll give him an Octopus. I would like to keep this thing in play if I can. Deciding to block a 2/2 with the commander to get his commander back. The Tireless Tracker is going to block a little bit of damage from the commander as well. So we get 6 commander damage through, thanks to the trample. Koma triggers twice, thanks to there being no spot removal so far on the Roaming Throne, so we weren't exactly punished for going a turn later with our commander. But each trigger is going to give us 8 Koma's Coil tokens. And I'm just going to continue to play into a board wipe here because it's a pretty one-sided game so far, so if our opponents come back from it, then, well, I'm not going to be too mad about it. Guy's Cradle taps for 60 mana, would be 30, but is doubled by the big enchantment. So I'll just protect the... Everything's got wards, so I don't know. Suppose the Roaming Throne is better to protect. And then I'll just play the Octomancer straight out with a gift. And I'll gift it to the player who is at 16 life. So now we have no cards in hand, and we'll see if our opponents can do anything about us. Could either get another Koma's Coil, another zombie, or the Octopus token. The Octopus token is the thing that we're going to copy. Strangely, before he even draws a card, the Mardu player is about to get his turn, but decides to scoop on us. Noteworthy that we get 2 Octopus because of the Adrix and Nev. Overseer of the Damned can destroy something when it enters, so they're going to have to be careful of ward at the moment. We are going to draw to the Study, which it might be worth saying no to, because this draws us more. So I'll say no and hope that this player is actually going to stay in play, because I'm assuming that we're not going to draw 2 cards from this player. Now, if he makes tokens here, I think this triggers at every end step. Yeah, each end step, create a token that's a copy of a creature token that entered this turn, so we will be able to copy any zombies that he makes, unless he goes for the Octomancer itself. Goes after a Koma's Coil, doesn't really matter at this point, I'm assuming, unless our opponents have a wipe. We've been lucky to not see a board wipe here, but just know that most of this is off the back of the fact that our opponents didn't say no to Tempt with Discovery. We assumed that they would say yes because they were struggling on colours, but apparently that's not a good enough reason if you don't want to get steamrolled with the Tempt cycle, and especially with Tempt with Discovery. 99% of the time you've got to be saying no to it, especially if you're up against Simic. No board wipe, that is a Jenara, where they're going to give us an opportunity to draw a card. They were going to Pain Touristic Study, so we only would have got 1 card from that most likely, so we were correct to say no to it during the Ezio player's turn. Puts a plus counter on Jenara, so likely the end of the game next turn. Garaport Orrery triggers at the beginning of our turn. We draw the 3 cards, and then we've got the draw step as well, so it's just even more mana for us. Let's go straight through to combat. Not going to waste my opponent's time as best as I can help it. So these cards are swinging into the left, and then everything else can go to the right. And I'm just going to assume that that's it because I haven't bothered working it out. Our opponents are being really good sports about it though, and just taking it. So this guy goes down. Was there first strike damage or something? Is there something I'm missing? Or did I misclick and not attack this guy? Anyway, I've taken this guy out. Maybe there's first strike damage. No? Okay, well I've misclicked and given the Ezio player another chance to come back from this. So let's just go Tireless Tracker. Play a land into the Tireless Tracker. That will trigger for more tokens, including a clue token from Investigate. So we get 2 of those per landfall thanks to the Adrix and Nev. Enchant a forest with the Utopia Sprawl, again trying to empty my hand here. And we do have 2 lands for the turn, so I can still go Cultivate and play the land from Cultivate. So we're going to end up with a bunch more zombies and 6 clue tokens. I won't bother cracking those until we need to, because I'm going to continue to take advantage of the Orrery. Octomancer can just make more. We can only make creature tokens, so the choice is obvious. We make more coils. Obviously the game should have been over here. I've misclicked somehow. Out of curiosity, let's tap this. That adds 114 mana. Ezio back into play again. We'll say no to the card draw. And yeah, just scooping there, so what would we have drawn into? Just more lands. Tribute to the World Tree does trigger on our Koma's Coils, drawing us even more. Hunter's Insight draws us as well. And had we have cracked the clue tokens, that's what we had in store for us. So obviously a really one-sided game there. We didn't see any interaction that I can remember. No board wipes. Just a poor decision from my opponents handing us all that extra mana with the Tempt with Discovery. And it just allowed us to completely steamroll them. But it's a fun little exhibition match to show you all. Koma the World Eater was very popular back when it released, so hopefully there's still some people looking for gameplay videos of that. If you did enjoy it, then please consider donating on Patreon, leaving a like and subscribing to the channel as well. Very much appreciative to those of you who do that, and I will see you all in the next one, I hope. I'm Tribalkai. Thank you for watching.